Corbin, Kentucky, and around the world at WYWYradio.com. You're listening to the Link Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on 93.3 FM and AM 950 WYWY. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host for the evening, JT Elliott, public address announcer for the Link Camp Wildcat football program. A little bit later, we'll be joined alongside the winning coach himself, Link Camp's very own Alan Harris, the head football coach of your Link Camp Wildcats. Also joined this evening by a very special guest, the principal of Link Camp Schools, Mr. Anthony Pennington. Mr. Pennington, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me out, JT. Isn't it a great time of year? Weather changing under the Friday night lights, and obviously picked up a big win there Friday night. Great turnout. Probably had 250 alumni, maybe 300 on the field. A lot of excitement, a lot of fireworks. It is that time of year again.
It is. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I always reference that Christmas song. To me, football season is the most wonderful time of the year. Now, if you didn't catch us last week, what to expect week in and week out from the Link Camp Coach Alan Harris Show. We'll have your weekly Wildcat Report where we break down last week's contest, electric night at Howard Stadium with the big victory over McCrary Central. We'll have your coach's clipboard where we go over the game plan for this upcoming week's contest versus the Jackson County Generals. We'll have your program highlight where we take a look at all the components which make up the Wildcat program. It's not just about the X's and O's. There's a lot that go into making a successful high school football program. And we'll turn back the hands of time and we'll look back at some of the teams that have worn the orange and black jersey as a part of our Campers Flashback segment. So an action-packed show for this hour till the 6 o'clock hour. But we're going to jump right into it with Mr. Pennington here, again, the principal of Link Camp Schools. Mr. Pennington, this is Coach Harris's first year. You've gone with a new direction in the program. It's a new era. So tell us what your vision is for the direction of the football program.
To get back to Hitman football, exciting tradition it is, Link Camp. Traditionally Link Camp has been a powerhouse for a small school in our area. We want to get back to that. Fans are excited, students are excited. A lot of great things going on at Link Camp. Obviously our community loves and are passionate about football and all of our sports. A lot of great things going on in our school and for our program. This year we were able to open the field house. I don't know, JT, I don't know many facilities that are any nicer. We got a lot of pride in that.
It really is state of the art.
It is. It's super nice. I want to invite anyone would like to see that. Coach Harris and his coaching staff are very personable. We want the community to feel a part of the program and be a part of the program and be more than welcome. I'd be more than welcome to show anyone around. We're very proud. We like to show that facility off. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. What did you think about the field the other night?
The field looked beautiful. I love the paint color schemes, the end zones. I love those fancy end zones like Tennessee that have the checkerboard. I like the pattern that you all did with the orange and black. Just the field in general looked state of the art as well.
I told the kids before the game I got to give a pep talk to them, and I was very happy to do that, very excited. If you're not ready to play tonight after seeing this field the way it is and all the hard work that went into it, I don't know about you, but kids were very excited. They were pumped. Paw print, we did the three-dimensional look to it. We ordered a bigger paw print stencil for that. I've got to brag on football staff and Coach Darrell Hendricks. Does a tremendous job on the field, and a lot of hard work that, like you said, opened up the segment that people don't realize that go into it. But obviously at Link Camp Schools and with our football program and all of our programs, we want to take things to the next level. We want everything to be perfect, and if everything is perfect, then the kids are going to try to play that way.
I'll tell you one of my favorite parts of last week, what I saw. Well, you can see it from 25E. At nighttime, I love the LED paw print on the back of the press box. That's a great feature. Whoever came up with that idea, kudos to them. Was that you, Mr. Pennington?
We all kind of brainstormed that, and it was an idea that we had. If we could get that up there, just a LED neon sign that would light up and kind of get back to that tradition of Hitman football. And with having the press box redone and having that up there, it turned out better than what we ever expected, and had a lot of good compliments on that the other night. And obviously the tailgate facility coming up, it's ready to go and operational. We're very proud of that on the corner of the stadium next to the scoreboard. And again, just a beautiful site there overlooking the lake and with the facilities. And we're going to continue to build and make that better. We had a great crowd the other night too. These first couple games, the scrimmage game that we had and this one, it was pretty capacity there. So vision is, I'd like to see people sitting around the hill like they do at Missouri behind the flagpole. Wouldn't that be great to be able to fill that up
I
too?
think that's coming because the stands were filled up. There were people all along the fence line. So I think it's coming. We're going to have to maybe put some couches up on that hill so people can get that bird's eye view from the back of the end zone. So we've talked, there's 2 concession stands now. You mentioned a tailgate area. There was a huge tailgate before last weekend's game.
Yeah, I've got to give a big shout out to our local churches represented by Love Loud. They definitely did that. They showed a lot of love, and we appreciate them. Worked very hard. They helped clean up after the game. It's part of what they do, and they volunteered to do that. And as you said before, they cooked before the game. We had cornhole. We had all of our alumni back, and just community members and faculty and staff and parents and students just all mix and mingling and just really enjoying a good fall Friday night the way it's supposed to be. And something else, they've started planting those big gigantic planters there in front of the school. They took on that project. We asked them to do that this year. So that's what we're trying to do with football and all of our programs at Lynn Camp Schools. We're trying to get that edge in everything that we do.
The beautification of the campus has come many strides in the last few days, like you said, in the last week, from the staff working on the field to the Love Loud Church's planning right there in front of the high school facility. So it's just a beautiful campus.
Yeah, and of course we'll be back home, I think 2 weeks from now, and I believe that's our homecoming game. And this week we're supposed to be getting a really, really nice school-colored sideline turf. We've been needing that for a while, and a lot of big programs have that, and we're very excited to unveil that to go with the rest of the field changes.
I like that you're going with the Lynn Camp colors too. I like that over the traditional green. And it's all about not just winning football games or winning sports in general. We've talked about this last week. It's about character development of the student athlete and supporting all the programs. And football's a big part of that. Football has to produce the funds to support many of the other programs, correct?
Exactly, and I can't do this segment without having a few shout outs. I know that basketball teams are conditioning very hard. Coach Jones and Coach Phipps, what a duo to have in this region, and all the games that they've won. We're very excited about their kids and what they're doing. And I've got to give a shout out to our volleyball team. Coach McMillan, new coach to us this year, former Lynn Camp graduate. Her and her girls went up and were runner-up in the All-A region this weekend. So, and our middle school football did really well. Got that win against Pineville there last week, won both games. And tonight, anyone wants to come out and be under the money lights, we've got Jackson County JV coming in tonight. We're excited about that.
Also looking at the schedule here, if you want to support the volleyball team, they're at home tonight, correct? 6 o'clock against the Colonels of Whitley County.
That's correct. I mean, you can catch 2 good games. You can kind of go back and forth there on our campus and check out a good volleyball match. The girls are really improving, and I love the direction we're headed there. Coach McMillan's doing a fabulous job with those girls. Also tonight, we're looking for our JV team to step up, and we've got a good JV schedule this year. Last couple of years, that's one of the things. Our feeder programs and off-season programs and Little League programs are really coming on strong. And I know that Coach Harris's little kid flag football, I think, is getting ready to kick off maybe next weekend.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully talk about that a little bit more this evening about the middle school program and the flag football program, because there are many components that make up the Lynn Camp High School football program. Well, we're going to step out for a quick commercial break here, folks. And it's Monday, so just like Mr. Pennington said, at the end of the show, as you're unwinding, driving home, and you've had a stressful Monday, take it easy tonight and go out to the camp, support the middle school program, support the volleyball team, take in some games to help yourself unwind. You're listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio, 93.3 FM and AM 950.
Somewhere right on the corner, right on the price, an old rivalry continues.
Hey, let me show what Lincoln has to offer.
Cadillac can do you better.
My Lincoln Touch.
Cadillac user experience with haptic feedback.
6 years, 70,000-mile powertrain warranty.
The all-new Cadillac CTS-V pushing 556 horsepower.
Park Assist.
Roadside assistance.
So which side performs the best? You decide at Falls Auto Group. Right on the corner, right on the price. North US Highway 25, Corbin.
Welcome back to the Chevrolet showroom in Falls Auto Group in Corbin, Kentucky, located right off 25E in the Corbin bypass in the heart of the Tri-County area. You're listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on 93.3 FM and AM 950 WYWY Radio. And we're going to try to get Coach Harris inside the facility here in a moment. He's out deciding whether he wants to buy the new Mustang or Corvette. I say Corvette. Mr. Pennington, what do you say?
I say that he better keep winning some of these games before he thinks too much about that. But I do want to give a shout out to Falls Ford and Chevy. We really appreciate their support of Lynn Camp Schools and all that they do in supporting the show. And you know, they're a very good sponsor. And again, if you need a new vehicle and things, you know, again, they're a good local sponsor of Lynn Camp Schools.
And they're a sponsor, of course, you mentioned of the football program. They have a nice stenciled silhouette, I guess you would say, on the field. It looks really good this year for Falls Auto Group, well deserving of their support of the Wildcat program. Well, it was an electric night last week. Howard Stadium, Hampton Field, packed out, people all along the fence line because there was not a seat to be found. It was electric. The McCreary Central Raiders came to town. They were 1-0 on the season. Lynn Camp entering that contest 0-1. Well, the tide turned though. It was a 6-0 start for the Raiders. They got to the end zone first before the camp rattled off 20 straight points. They were able to hold on for the 26-22 victory, 4-point win there for Coach Alan Harris, his first win of the season of what is sure to be many of the year. What was your review of that game, Mr. Pennington, between the Raiders and the Wildcats?
Well, you know, I saw several things that really stood out to me. And, you know, obviously we kept our composure at times when they would make a run. We were always able to get the big stop when we needed it. And of course, as the game wound on, especially toward the end, we needed that bad. How about our young players? I mean, many of them before the game, I asked a couple, do you feel like a freshman? And a lot of them, you know, they are freshmen. They're very young, but they're very talented. And, you know, with those freshmen coming on, if they can keep improving with this part of the schedule and we can you know, continue working hard, sky's the limit for Lynn Camp football with those young talented guys on both sides of the ball.
It is a bright future, and we're going to talk a little bit about those players right now. You have freshman River Hilton with a big sack early on in the contest, nearly got the safety, had them pinned about the 3-yard line. You had a very powerful running game. Both Brendan Medlin, sophomore, and Dalton Cook ran for over 100 yards, and we controlled the clock. That was such a big deal, was controlling the clock for the Wildcats. The first drive, even though it resulted in no points, took 7 minutes off the clock. Why is that important? Because look at the very end of the game in the fourth quarter. You could tell McCreary Central was gassed and we still had fuel left in the tank. And that's a testament to the conditioning of the team as well.
Yeah, I mean, that condition's paid off with our new field house, new weights this year. And I was very impressed with that down the stretch. That paid off for us. Anytime that you can control the ball, like you said, 6, 7, 8 minutes, that's going to be huge for your team. Other thing that I noticed was just the calling last night for the most part. It was very balanced. You know, little stretches here and there that we need to shore up, but for the most part, we had really good balanced attack, established a strong running game, and I think that's going to pay off in these next couple games for us.
Hey, you got to establish the run first. If you're not familiar with Wildcat football, they run power. What does that mean? That means that you're going to hit that C gap, you're going to use your tackle and your tight end, you're going to bring that extra blocker and try to overload to one side. So we are joined by the man himself. He has arrived. I've got the big question right off the bat. Did you buy the Mustang or the Corvette? Because you've been out in the parking lot, Coach Harris, for the last 20 minutes. Which vehicle did you purchase?
I think Falls agreed to give me the Corvette, so I think we're going to work out a pretty good deal there.
I hope so. You can get some really good deals here at Falls Auto Group. So we're talking with Mr. Pennington, Lynn Camp School's principal, and now alongside the winning coach himself, Mr. Alan Harris. We're on to our Week 1 Wildcat report over the big victory over the McCrary Central Raiders. My first question to you, Coach Harris, is how did that ice bath feel Friday night?
It felt great. I hope we have a lot more of those this season.
I think they're coming your way. Now, how do you feel? This was a passing team. McCrary passed an awful lot. Hunter Jones, their quarterback, was very talented. How do you think your defense handled that passing attack?
Well, I think they studied the film on Perry and thought that they could come in and change up the game plan a little bit and run on us quite a bit. So they started out running the ball quite a bit. We were doing pretty good shutting that down. Then they went to the option. When we shut that down, then they went to the passing game, and I felt like our defense responded well to the passing game. You know, we had to make a lot of adjustments. They were very versatile in their offense, and our defense kept making the adjustments and the stops, and they come up big for us.
Now, you also had your passing attack as well. You had a nice touchdown pass from Brown to Weddle. I think it was about an 18-yard score. So you were able to move the ball, through the air as well. Were you pleased with your passing game?
We were 7 for 11 for about 49, 50 yards. We dropped about a 65-yard pass there at one time, and another 45, 50-yard touchdown pass. If we complete those, I'd have been a whole lot happier. But our passing game's coming along. It's getting close to where it needs to be.
Now, the running game was definitely there. We were just talking about that. 200-yard rushers, Medlin and Cook, both rushing for 100 yards. You also, could you say a star is born in Dalton Cook? Could we go that far to say that?
I would say Dalton Cook, Brett Medlin, all of our backs. They stepped up and they did the job. I think Dalton had 16 carries for 146 yards and 1 touchdown. Brenton had 14 carries for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Emery, he was more in a blocking role this week, but he had a couple of carries for 12 yards. Could have had that touchdown catch. But I think all of our backs are stepping up into the role they're supposed to, and that's kind of what we was seeing back in the summer, that we had a lot of talented backs that we had to just get confidence in them, and I think they've got the confidence this week to carry us into this Friday.
And you've also, to run the ball, you've got to have a good line. And watching this team progress on the offensive line from, even through the years, especially this year, even from Clay County, the Gritterama game till now, big progression and improvement in your offensive line, I thought.
Well, at Perry Central, Perry was just a good football team up front on both sides of the ball. They taught us some good lessons. We worked really hard following up with McQuarrie to get our defensive and offensive line where it needed to be. The kids responded and they blocked extremely well. Friday night, that's why I was a little bit late. I was wrapped up in game tape there with the team. And the offensive line did an outstanding job Friday night.
Now, I always ask this question. Every week I'm going to ask this question. How did you improve as a football team?
Well, our backs got confident because the line blocked for them. The line got confident because they know they can do the job. When the backs got to the hole, it was open. So now, that confidence builds into next week. Dylan made some key passes. He didn't throw any interceptions. So confidence is a big factor in winning. And when you get confidence, you start winning football games. So I think that, our kids are starting to get confident in their abilities. We still have a lot of little things that we need to fix to make us a better football team. But as confidence grows, the wins will come, and that just makes us a better team all around.
Now, I have to ask the big question that everyone's been talking about and everybody wants to know. McCreary had no timeouts, and a victory formation knee would have sealed the deal. But instead, you run the ball on one of the last plays. There's a fumble, McCreary recovers, but they had no steam left in the tank. Wildcat defense held tough and stopped the Raiders, and you come out victorious. So the question is, why did you decide to run another play instead of take the knee?
I've been asked that question about 1,000 times since Friday, and I'll just say this: I'm the head coach, and I'm going to take responsibility for that. It was my fault that we didn't down the ball there. We should have. You know, we got a young coaching staff, and there's a learning curve there. We made some mistakes coaching Friday night. You know that would have helped us be more successful. Would have helped our players be more successful. And as a head coach, I got to take responsibility for that and say that was just my mistake.
Well, I had no objection to the play call, because I think at the same time you got to say, I trust my players to perform, and I think that just shows the trust of the coaching staff towards the players. So I don't have any objection to the call on that end. Now, we're going to step out for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go to our coach's clipboard, where we're going to break down the X's and O's to victory as the Wildcats head to McKee and face the Jackson County Generals. You're listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio, 93.3 FM and AM 950.
Hi, welcome to Falls Auto Group. I'm not sure the right fit for me. You're looking for a great selection of trusted brands. Right, and a huge selection of new and used vehicles, different styles, and great trade-in value. Service after the sale, it's second to none, and free car washes for as long as you own your vehicle. Right. I think we found the right vehicle for you. Perfect. Now how about that price? Right. Now my mom can find this place too. And we have something for the whole family.
Falls Auto Group, right on the corner, right on the price.
Welcome back, Wildcat fans, to the Chevy Showroom at Falls Auto Group in Corbin, Kentucky. You're listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio and around the world at WYWYradio.com, 93.3 FM and AM 950. We've talked about how exciting the program is, the improvements to the field house. We talked about the 2,000 plus people who were there for alumni night, but the past is the past, and now it's time to talk about the future and this Friday night's big game against the Jackson County Generals. They're 1-1 on the season. They beat Berea, a team that you'll face in 2 weeks, and another team that you'll face. They lost to Pineville this week, 41-8. This is a program that got started in 2006, so it is a young program. That doesn't mean it hasn't been successful. In 2013, they finished 6-5, and they might not have always had winning records, Coach, but if you look at it, they're always competitive. So tell me what you've seen on film from them offensively so far.
Well, Jackson County, they run a wing tee offense. It's kind of an offense that's not ran a lot in high school football, but that's what they're running right now, and they're pretty successful doing it. They're big up front. They're well coached. Jackson County always puts out some big athletes, big strong guys. They got plenty of guys to pick from over there, and they're solid on the line. Their quarterback's a pretty good athlete, and they got a good running back. I think his number's 24, if I'm not mistaken. He's their go-to back. We got to shut him down Friday night if we want to be successful, and we got to execute on the defensive line, and everybody needs to be in their place and do their job for us to be successful against that wing tee.
Now, defensively, what type of defense does Jackson County run? Are they your traditional 50? Are they a 4-3? What are you seeing that they typically run? And do they blitz a lot?
They actually do blitz a lot. They go from a 4 front to a 5 front. Usually when they go into a 5-2, they're blitzing their linebackers just about every play. Of course, they was playing Pineville, who's throwing the ball, 90% of the time. So, that may have been his game strategy, to pressure the quarterback up the middle. I don't know that he'll blitz us so much because we're more of a running football team. But we're expecting when they're in the 5 front that they're going to bring them 2 linebackers, and when they're in the 4 front, we're going to expose that. We're going to try to pick on the outside a little bit, kind of like we did McQuarrie. We feel like that's probably where our strong points are going to be because our backs are smaller and faster. So I just think we're a better team offensively if we can get the ball outside. So, that's what we're going to work on. You'll probably see us throw the ball a lot more this week. I kind of like how Jackson's defense is set up. I'm not going to tell all my strategies, but if they play defense the way they have the past 2 games, we'll be able to throw the ball pretty good.
Well, it sounds like the corners aren't reading run first, and you're going to get some man-to-man matchups there, is my first read. Now, what about on special teams? Do you see any trickery, any onside kicks, or is it pretty basic? Do they have a good kicker, a good punter, or are you going to get some good field position?
On their side of the ball, their kickoff man, he kicks the ball deep. They do more of a traditional high school squib type of kick. They don't kick it high, but they kick it low and deep. And you know, we got to do a better job on the receiving team of picking up our men and getting to our assignments. They do a pretty good job of filling the lanes. I believe against Pineville, their only score was a punt return on their special team, so that's something that we got to, you know, be conscious of and stop. Friday night, I felt like we did a pretty good job covering the punt return. We kicked off several times because we actually got to score a bunch, which was a lot of fun. And I would give us probably a C grade for our special teams kickoff. A couple times we did it perfect, and then a couple times we missed our assignments and wasn't filling our lane. So we're going to put more emphasis on that this week and make sure that we clean those little things up.
I know I saw you're talking about the pressure defense, and Pineville does have a good quarterback in Tucker Willem, and I saw one of the highlights from there. They were able to push him outside, and he threw across his body right to a general defender. So hopefully you can keep from making those mistakes, because they are, it looks like, a good turnover team. The way they defeated Berea was due to recovering 6 fumbles. So what are you going to do to ensure your running backs are going to be able to hold on to the football?
Well, I think Berea, was the first game of the season. Berea may have had the jitters. They just didn't execute, the way they're capable of executing. They're a lot better football team than what they showed Jackson County. Jackson County took advantage of it and exposed them to the turnovers and made them pay for it. We had 1 fumble Friday night. And of course, it was at the end of the game, the worst time you could fumble. But we have faith in our running backs, and our quarterbacks, and our receivers. We're constantly coaching, how we carry the football. Last year, fumbles was a humongous problem, and I made up my mind early this year that I was going to coach that up and make sure that wasn't an issue this year. I think Friday night when Dalton fumbled that one, it was just more of a being tired type of error than a fundamental. He was just tired, and coach shouldn't have ran it there. So.
I think McCreary Central was definitely more tired because you were able to control the clock through your running game and keep that defense on the field. I'm sure that's something that you want to do this game against Jackson County, correct?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the type of shape that our football team's in. That's another thing that we really focused on this year. I realized last year after taking over mid-season that we wasn't in very good shape. And, we changed up how we condition at practice this year, and it's really paid off for us. I mean, our kids are pretty strong in the 4th quarter. And another thing that helps us this year is we got more kids on the field, so we don't have to play Ironman football so much. Our offensive line gets a break most of the time during defense because we got other kids on the other side of the ball that play defense only and kids that play offense only, which makes us, a lot stronger.
Now we play Ironman over the loudspeakers at the stadium, but we don't play Ironman football. We play Hitman football when you come to Lynn Camp. Now we'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to look at our campers flashback. We're going to look at the 1996 and 97 teams that put on those Hitman jerseys, the orange and black. You're listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio 93.3 FM and AM 950.
Get an all-American deal from folks that you can trust. Made right here in the USA, all-American cars and trucks. They just don't talk the talk, they walk the walk. At Falls Auto Group, you'll feel the difference.
Welcome back, Wildcat fans. The Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show here on WYWY Radio 93.3 FM and AM 950. We're broadcasting from the beautiful facility that is Falls Auto Group off the 25E Highway and Corbin Bypass, right next to Lynn Camp High School, the best high school in the state in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And right before we get to our campers flashback, got a little love to give to some of these players from last week. We talked about how big McCrary Central the win was and how great the performances was. So I'm going to let Coach Harris run down some of the statistics from that impressive victory.
Well, our game plan going into McCreary is we wanted to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and we wanted to pressure them into making mistakes. And our kids really swarmed the ball this week. Micah Gray had a total of 10 tackles and 3 sacks. He led the team in tackles this week. I felt like he played outstanding, and he's worked hard to earn that spot. I want to give him a shout out. And Brandon Vaughn, he was the second with 7 tackles. And Brady Ferris, who we put at tight end or at defensive end this week, we coached him up all week to play that end. We felt like he's fast and strong off the edge, and he would do some good things. And he had 6 tackles and 1 sack for us. So just a little shout out to our defense. We hope they keep working hard, and we're going to keep coaching them up to make those kind of plays.
Now, Vaughn did some punting too as well, didn't he? Had a lot of different kickers last week.
Yeah, Vaughn is it depends on what set we're in. Sometimes we'll put Dalton Cook back there, depending on what the defense is giving me. I usually make that decision on, a lot of things come into factor, whether Dalton's kicking or Brandon's kicking. It depends on how the game's going and where we're at, and what quarter it is, and a lot of the situation stuff. But we got Dalton back there sometimes that punts, and then we've got Brandon Vaughn, who's our main punter.
And you had Austin Weddle, who's talking about defense, the big pass breakup at the end to sort of seal the win for the Wildcats there. So you had some pass deflections too.
Yeah, Austin played big for us. Austin's not normally a starting defensive back, but once again, we felt like McQuarrie was going to come out and throw the ball all over the place, and Weddle was our best man to put back there in the cover too. So, and he did. He played it great. They couldn't throw over top of us. They was afraid to go down the field. I don't think he took one shot over the top, because if I was him, I wouldn't in the defense that we was playing. And then Weddle came up big at the end of the game there with that big swat down. So, yeah, kudos to him. He played a good game on both sides of the ball. Had a touchdown catch, too.
That 18-yard pass from Brown to Weddle put 6 on the board on that one. So, defensively, it was a lights-out game. Like Mr. Pennington said, River Hilton with the sack. You had mentioned Gray with the other sacks, the defensive pass deflection against a team that passed a whole lot. So just kudos to the defense of the Wildcats last week.
Yeah, I think we had 6 sacks for the game, which is, pretty good defensive game.
That means you're getting some pressure and you're winning the line of scrimmage to allow those defensive linemen to come through, your ends to come through, and your linebackers to come through. So kudos to the Lynn Camp defense last week. Now, talking about some other teams in our campers flashback that had quite a bit of success were the 96 and 97 football teams at Lynn Camp High School. Coach, they say the games you remember you play in November. Well, this team went 9-4, both teams, 96 and 97. They were both regional runner-ups. So that's 4 playoff victories, 2 victories a year, and what began a nice stretch for the Wildcats. If you look at the 97 team, you got to remember back in the 90s, before you had all these school consolidations. Before you had Harlan County, you had Everett, you had Cumberland, you had Kaywood before they consolidated. There were 7 teams in the district back then in 96 and 97. That means 3 aren't getting into playoffs. So every win counted. The 96 team was the first team to make the region title game. And they just ran through their first round opponent, which was who, Coach Harris?
Hazard. That's a great win, 28-0 Lynn Camp. Then it looks like the second week they go down and beat Harlan 22-19 in a pretty close game, and then they come back in the region there and defeat Pikeville 43-20. Pikeville beat us in the region 43-20 at the end of the season.
But the first team to ever make the region championship game for Lynn Camp was that 1996 team. That following year, repeat performance, a 9-4 season. The 97 team they were district runner-ups to Middlesboro that year. Their first round contest, they get that revenge over Pikeville in the first round of the playoffs 58-18. That second round they go defeat Hazard again 22-6, and then they run into the district and region champion Middlesboro 27-0. One other little fact before I go into some players. This was a team that also beat Corbin in the Grid-A-Rama that season, that 97 team. They went to Campbell Field and upset Corbin in the Grid.
I believe that also made a movie, 23 Blast, the movie that Corbin made about their player. That was the same year that Lynn Camp beat them there. So
it was. Travis Freeman was a junior that year. He was in the 98 senior class. So it was his junior year. His last season was to play football was 1998. They also beat, the camp did, Pineville 62-6 this year. I'd like to see that number happen here in a few weeks.
well, speaking of Pineville, our middle school did defeat Pineville Thursday night, 40-16, I believe, was the final score. So kudos to the middle school.
Absolutely.
I didn't interrupt you there.
No problem whatsoever. Absolutely. And the more we can support the Lynn Camp student athletes, the better. A few other notes from that 97 team. They had 3, and this is something I can clearly see in the future for Lynn Camp football, 3 1,000-yard rushers that season. Joe Melton, Nick Jackson, and Quentin Henson all ran for over 1,000 yards. They also had a player named Jeff Johnson, 997 yards. So you're 3 yards away from 4,000 rushing yards that season. Pretty impressive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and you know that was a great football team both years, and you know once again they based it on great running backs, and that's what we're bringing back now. You know we're building our guys up to be great in the backfield, but we want to be versatile too. We want to be able to throw and run, but we're going to surprise some people. We're going to have some 1,000-yard rushers. I think maybe this year, and if we don't get any 1,000-yard rushers this year, they'll be damn close.
I think that you could be the program that hits the 4 rushers that hit 1,000 yards, and Alex Simon, Brendan Menlin, Dalton Cook, Tracy Fee, that could definitely happen. That's a good possibility, good probability of that. Some other players from that 97 team that were so successful: Will Holland, Chris Disney, Nick Valentine, who was a linebacker for them, Kyle Mitchell, Greg Engel, Jamie Tubbs, Randy Fox, Anthony and Nick Simon, and Jeff King, and also interception leader for that year was Chris Disney. So as you can imagine, that team led the entire Commonwealth, the entire state in rushing.
Well, all them names are big names. You know, I've only been around here a couple of years, and all those names you just mentioned, I've heard so many great stories about them and what they've done for Lynn Camp football. And you know, Coach Parker's still with us, so he still bleeds that orange and those names and our players, and motivates them to be like these guys. And that was a great football team both years with some big names. They did a great job.
Well, next week we're going to continue to look at some of the teams from the 1990s in this period of time with the 98 and 1999 teams as we continue this 4-year stretch. But don't worry, we're going to go through as many teams as possible from 1948 on, the first year of Lynn Camp football, 1948 and up. We're going to touch on them all, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and again continuing next week with the 90s. Now when we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Jackson County game and all the other happenings at Lynn Camp High School and the athletic and academics that are going on there. So you're listening to the Coach Alan Harris Show, Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio, 93.3 FM and AM 950.
Spying on Falls Auto Group just might be my best plan yet.
But it was my idea.
Even the other guys are coming to Falls Auto, where you can get the best vehicle and price. It's the best idea you'll have all year.
Fine.
With a lifetime guarantee of free car washes, what are you waiting for? Join the Falls team and never fall for the Don's deal again.
Hey, if you can't beat them, join them. Good dog.
Great auto, Falls Auto Group.
Welcome back, Lynn Camp fans, to the Chevy showroom at Falls Auto Group in Corbin, Kentucky. Mr. Pennington has gone ahead and bought a new GMC pickup, and Coach Harris has gone ahead and bought that Corvette for me. It's a nice present. I appreciate that. My wife will love it as we drive around. But seriously, if you have not checked out the selection here at Falls Auto Group, you are missing a treat. A lot of brand new cars, trucks, SUVs, you name it, they've got it here at Falls Auto Group. So be sure to come by on a beautiful day, beautiful night to check out some cars. I see a nice red truck that Coach Harris is eyeing right now. I think he's going to purchase that for himself. Now, let's get back to business. This evening, got a few things going on at Lincoln High School. Junior varsity game, right, Coach Harris?
Yeah, tonight our JV kicks off their season against Jackson County at 6:30. You know, you'll see a lot of what you'll see this Friday with the matchup with the varsity for Jackson County at Jackson County. Everybody that can come out, I'd like to ask to come out and support our boys. You know, the crowd Friday night was absolutely ecstatic. It was a great atmosphere. Like I said last week, I think we got the greatest fans in the world, and they did a great job supporting us and keeping us in the football game Friday night.
Yeah, that crowd was rocking Friday night. I heard quite a few stomping their feet, clapping their hands, even heard some Ric Flair woos occasionally. So I think that's going to be a first down tradition I'm hoping to get started. And we've got a volleyball game tonight. So if you want to stay indoors, you can go by Lincoln High School. And 6 o'clock, as soon as the show's over here, be sure to drive over and you can check out the Wildcats, the Lady Wildcats, against the Whitley County Colonels in volleyball action. So you have a couple options over at the campus of Lincoln High School. Now, another option, let's say your children are younger, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, your children are younger. There's an option for them this Saturday, correct, Coach Harris?
Yeah, we're gonna kick off our flag football program starting this Saturday at the high school football field. It's open for K through 5. You don't have to be a Lynn Camp kid to participate. Anybody who wants their child to participate can show up Saturday at 9 o'clock. We're going to start selecting teams and get coaches for these guys, and we're going to run our flag football program for the next few weeks. You know, it's my belief that if you want to have a successful program at the varsity level, you got to start at the baby level with our little guys, and we want to get that program started for them, get it going. You know, our middle school's got 42 kids right now, and that's a great number to have for our middle school program, and our high school program's at 43 right now. So, you know, 85 kids, that's a lot for the program, but we want to go bigger. You know. One thing that Mr. Pennington Lynn Camp has done for me is give me full support and full reign to run this program. You know, we want to get them kids out there and let them learn the fundamentals and learn the pride and tradition of Lynn Camp football.
Developing those hitmen at a young age, learning the fundamentals of the game. And I like what you said there. It's not just for a Lynn Camp elementary school student, right? It's for the community.
We'll take anybody who wants to come that fits into that age group. You know, Corbin, Laurel County, Barville, anybody's kids invited to come. You know, we just want to teach the fundamentals of football and let the kids have a good time.
Right, because it is completely open. So if you're a homeschooling parent, this is a great socialization activity to be a part of. Or if your child goes to maybe a private school or something without those opportunities, this is a great opportunity to play football under one of the best coaching staffs, in my opinion, the best coaching staff in the Commonwealth. And that's what I like about Lynn Camp. We talked about this a little bit last week about alumni night. It's not just alumni. You know, I'm not an alumni at Lynn Camp, but I feel a part of the program, and it is a community and a family atmosphere. That's what I love about the Lynn Camp football program.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, I grew up in Laurel County and played for Laurel County and coached at South Laurel, and never thought that I would ever don any kind of other team's name on my shirt. And you know, being here at Lynn Camp for 2 years, there's not a better place in the world to be a football coach. There's no better kids in the world. There's no better community, administration, school. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Now, turning back real quick as we hit on Jackson County one more time, because that is the present. That's what we gotta focus on. What are your keys to execution to win? What do you have to absolutely execute to come out with the W?
Well, our line's got to do what they did last week against McQuarrie. They got to come out and they got to control the line of scrimmage. Our backs got to have confidence and hit the holes. We got to eliminate a lot of little tiny middle mistakes. You know, I was just telling the kids before I got here, if we take care of the small things, the big things take care of themselves. And you know, we got a lot of little messes that we need to clean up. And if we can start cleaning those little messes up, we'll turn into a really good football team.
And you mentioned cleaning up. That's common at this time. You don't want to play your best football in August. No one wants to play their best football in August. You want to play your best football in late October, early November. That's when you want to be hitting your stride. So if you don't have things to clean up right now and get fixed, that's probably not a good sign for down the road.
Yeah, I always tell the kids it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And you know, if you look at us from the beginning of the season and the scrimmages till now, every week we've made progress and we've made improvements. The kids are accepting the coaching, they're executing what we're trying to tell them, and you know, we're being successful. And we just got to keep building on that every week.
Now, I do want to talk to Principal Pennington just for a few more moments as we wrap up about the growth of the school, because there's student athletes, and the student is first, correct, Mr. Pennington?
That's correct. I mean, it's all about, even with the new athletics that we've started, we're back to our tradition in football. It's about finding that niche, that individualized attention for that student to make them want to come to school every day, to do their very best. It's all about them, as we talked about earlier, JT, becoming the most productive young men and women that they can. A couple of things we've added, I've got to give some plugs for 14 AP courses. You can come to Lynn Camp and get free books and tuition to Union College. We'll bus you buy your books before you graduate from high school. We got dual credit college courses, second most improved high school in the state of Kentucky. Scores will be coming out publicly in October. Very excited, cannot wait to see those. A lot of hard work, got the best teachers, faculty, staff, and coaches, and that's what makes it special. Our community, I feel like, second to none with our facilities and being a small school with a big heart. We've now got archery, swimming, women's soccer, KYA, Kuna. Last year, our Spanish Honor Society went to Peru. I think this year they're going to go to Costa Rica. And again, we're just very excited about those. Bowling has been competing on a state level for us. You know, again, having those niches for students to fit into and trying to offer more things than anyone else does. And when we offer them, we don't want to just offer them. We want to simply do them better. And that's kind of the motto. And like I said, we're very proud of what's going on at Lynn Camp Schools, and our enrollment in our two buildings, P through 12. We now have 3 preschools that are packed out, and we have about 1,200 students now and growing.
Wow.
So our numbers have went up the last couple of years we've been at this, 150 to 200 students. So again, that goes back to all the good people that we have as far as teachers, coaches, staff, that makes that special and happen.
When you're offering so much, when you look at that, second most improved in the state school-wise, the continuation of offering more programs, that's got to boost, you know, attendance up. It keeps kids in school longer. It decreases your dropout rate. Those are all excellent steps to, you know, making the students successful.
Yeah, it is. Leading the district in attendance, getting them in a seat, finding that niche so that you know, we can give them the best education possible. I also want to give kudos to our robotics team. We've got one of, I think, 10 in the state of Kentucky. The Battle of Bluegrass, that was at the arena last year. This year, Lynn Camp's going to be hosting that at Lynn Camp School. We're very excited. As anyone knows, we love to put on a good show. You know, we appreciate the community support, local businesses such as Falls Group, and we're going to have 14 teams from other states competing for the title, Battle of Bluegrass. You know, last year we were second in the entire southeastern United States in robotics competition, so they're doing great things, and we've got one of only 8 beef cattle production farms in the state for high school, so we're very excited about that program as well.
And I really love the emphasis on robotics and engineering. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, farming, agriculture, huge part of the Kentucky economic system. And I'll say this, as someone who's paid college tuition, enroll in those AP courses and those dual credits, save yourself some money, students. Now, we're going to close up. Be sure to go to the JV game tonight, 6:30 over at Howard Stadium, with a volleyball contest at 6. Thank you for your listening tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening to the Lynn Camp Coach Alan Harris Show on WYWY Radio, 93.3 FM and AM 950.